What's going on, everyone? So, the San Antonio Spurs played their first preseason game against the Oklahoma City Thunder, and this is going to be a rivalry, in my opinion, that is going to last quite some time. Both of these teams are incredibly young, incredibly talented, incredibly gifted, and right now you have the Thunder, who are at the peak of the top, and then San Antonio, I think, won't be too far behind. I think San Antonio will be a team that'll be there before we know it. But Thunder ended up winning it preseason. Neither team really played any key guys, right? With the San Antonio Spurs in particular, because that's what I want to talk about in this video. You didn't get Chris Paul, you didn't get Victor Wembanyama, and you didn't get Devin Vassell. Now, Devin Vassell, he's expected to miss, at least the first week, if not several, of the actual NBA season. He's not supposed to be reevaluated until November 1st from his injuries. And then, again, sat out Victor Wembanyama as well as Chris Paul. I mean, the starting five was Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan, Trey Jones, Harrison Barnes. And you had Julian Champagnie, and that was your starting five. Same thing on the other side for the Thunder. You didn't have SGA. Their starting five was Wallace Dane, Aaron Wiggins, Jalen Williams, and then Chet Holmgren. Missed a couple key guys as well. But again, didn't get kind of the main three guys for the Spurs this year. But you did get to see a couple other guys. And there's two guys in particular I really want to talk about and kind of highlight. There's several guys you could talk about, like Jeremy Sohan. He had a solid outing. No one else, in my opinion, really stood out for the Spurs. There's just kind of two guys that I want to talk about in particular. But like Keldon Johnson, he shot 50% from the floor, 8 points, but he didn't really do too much out there. Champagnie, we're going to touch on him, and then Stefon Castle is who else we're going to dive into here. But Harrison Barnes, 2 of 8, struggled shooting the basketball, only played 20 minutes. Again, Jeremy Sohan is maybe somebody you could point to and go, he gave you 9, 6, and 4, kind of that all-around game. But he also led the team in plus minus with the -10. Mamu, okay outing, solid outing in limited minutes, gave you 14, 3 and 1, 3 of 4 from 3, which was good. And then you have Branham, 5 of 14, not great, 2 of 8, not great, 12 points in 18 minutes. Again, nobody really just you point to and go, man, those guys are really good. So let's get into Castle, right? Because Castle's the guy that is the future of this squad, the future of this team. In 19 minutes of action, so he didn't play a ton, he gave you 5 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, was 2 of 3 from the field, didn't take a single 3-point attempt, but he had 6 turnovers. That is not good. Got to take better care of the basketball. However, it's preseason. He's a rookie. He's going to learn. He's going to grow. All right? But we got to be fair. 6 turnovers is not good, right? But you saw the versatility of what you wanted to see from Castle, even in a limited role in limited minutes. Right? His ability to just kind of do the dirty work, be multiple places at once at times on the defensive side of things. A guy that can grab some rebounds, grab some, give you some assists, score some buckets. Be a guy that, alongside your other stars, I think is going to have an impact right out the gate. Genuinely, I think Stefon Castle is going to be a guy that can really play a role and carve out a role immediately. He's not there as far as what you want, even in a backup point guard role. I wouldn't trust him to run the second unit or anything like that yet. Doesn't mean he can't get there, but at least as of right now, right? He, to me, I think would be best this year as that Swiss Army knife type guy, right? Play some hard-nosed defense. You can slot him pretty much wherever you want on the floor, really. But 1 through 3, but really I think probably 2-3 spot. Use his size and his length to his advantage. Use his athleticism, his toughness, and just kind of allow him to just go out there and play in a lot of ways, kind of get a feel for the game. Because you have guys like Chris Paul that they're just going to make him look good. Right? If he's moving, he's constantly being active and constantly being physical out there. Right? Chris Paul is going to find him when the moment calls for it. right? If Stefon Castle is able to just, get by the defender, Chris Paul is going to feed it to him, right? If he's able to leak out and get it and get open, Chris Paul is going to find it and get it to him, right? Like Stefon Castle, I like him as that, again, just kind of do everything, dirty, hard-nosed, dirty work player. Have him out there defending, be a point of attack guy, defend multiple positions, dive for loose balls, be a guy that's out there, make plays. Like, if he could go and give you off the bench or even starting, like, I don't even hate the idea of putting him in the starting unit, especially while Devin Vassell is out. But to have him kind of come in, and if he could give you, 8, 4, and 4 or something like that, or 8, 5, and 5, like ideally maybe double digits, 10, 5, and 5. But he's playing hard defense. He's getting loose balls. Like, he's being the guy that you saw. I mean, even in UConn, that's what he was like a lot. Right? There were games where he'd go and give you 25. But then there were games, he'd have like 7 points, but he'd have 11 rebounds or, 9 assists, right? Like, he was, in many ways, a Swiss Army knife with UConn, right? So, utilize him as that right now. You have Chris Paul. He's going to develop him. He's going to work with him. He's supposed to be the future point guard of this squad. I'm all for that. And I'm not saying you don't have to. I'm not saying don't run him as the point guard at times. But if you're trying to win a bunch of games, you don't want him playing 25, 30 minutes as the primary backup point guard, right? I don't want to see him be night in and night out the primary backup point guard. All right, if you want to let him kind of run the show at times, in little doses, even alongside, say, Chris Paul, where you're putting the ball in Stefon Castle's hands and maybe Chris Paul's playing up ball, sure, right? Like, you can do various things, but he's got to learn. He's got to grow. But that's part of being a rookie. That's part of coming in the league. It's not a criticism. I'm very excited for Stefon Castle. Look, I've said repeatedly that I think we might look back and he might be the best player in this draft. I still believe that. I think he's going to be really good. But next guy I want to talk about, Julian Champagnie. He was one of the guys that really stood out and was very good and very versatile out there. So, 21 minutes, 22 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 7 of 16 from the field, 6 of 13 from 3, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 1 steal, and only 1 turnover. I like Champagnie a lot. He is a guy that could, potentially be your starting small forward of the future, right? His ability to shoot the 3 ball, he's got good size, 6'7", good wingspan, good length. Defensively, he can when he's engaged, locked in, and motivated. Still very young, right? He's still a lot of growth and potential ahead of him. He's 23 years old, so definitely needs some work. Definitely still, just a development guy. He's a guy that you want out there in a backup role behind Harrison Barnes, learning from Harrison Barnes, learning how to be that off-ball 3-and-D guy, be able to defend multiple positions, be able to shoot 3, score, put the ball on the deck, do a little bit of everything, right? That's what you want to see from Champagnie, right? Like, you want him to be that just kind of that versatile, do everything kind of guy. And I think that he will be able to be that, right? Defensive rating, if you look at like last season's defensive rating, he's a 116.6, which is around league average last year. You'd like to see that kind of pick up a little bit. You'd like to see him, if he could get to like above average, like 113, 114 maybe, defensive rating. But he has shown the ability to just, like, when he's cooking, he's cooking. Give him basketball, get out of his way type thing. And you really want to start seeing other guys really start to take some strides here, right? Spurs have some young guys. They're going to have to make some decisions at some point. Right? A lot of questions about, like, what are they going to do with, like, Keldon Johnson? Devin Vassell is supposed to be your... Like, you look at the Spurs and kind of their future, right? you have right now Stefon Castle, who's supposed to be the point guard. You have Devin Vassell, who's supposed to be the 2. You have Victor Wembanyama, who is supposed to be the 5. Right? Then you have that 4 spot, which Spurs kind of wanted to be Jeremy Sohan. I think the jury's still out on him. I don't know yet. Can he get there? Sure. But we'll see. But I think, you look at the 3 and you look potentially the 4. Those are 2 positions that I think are still very open for the future. Right? But you have several guys playing for it. Right? Like Branham kind of feels like this is kind of his make or break year. I did a video a while back talking about that. But you got, David Duke. Blake Wesley is another guy that can slide over and play that spot. You got Minix, right? You got Harrison Ingram, right? Who they picked up this year, who's a development guy, right? Like you have several guys that are all kind of vying for those different spots. And Champagnie could be the guy that really emerges and kind of steps out into that role and be that piece. And wouldn't be surprising at all. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? What did you think of the Spurs on the first preseason game? What did you think of Champagnie? What did you think of Stefon Castle? Again, I thought those 2 guys really stood out. I thought those 2 guys really looked good. Obviously, again, 6 turnovers, not great, but I think overall, you got to see what you wanted to see from those guys. But how did you feel? What are your thoughts are? Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.